two. I think we're live. So let's do this again. One more time. Let me here. Should work. Perfect. Yep. Okay. Now we should be screenshotting or sharing the screen of this Zoom. So at any rate, thank you. I appreciate it. For the people that are watching, Lisa is an incredible coach and mentor. She's done a lot with a lot of people, in helping them get through their hang-ups, but also encouraging to enhance what they're doing. But what I really appreciate about Lisa is just she's a really, really, really good friend. And she's helped me through some times to get my mind straight on certain things. And I appreciate her for that. And I wanted to share her with you. So,
Thank you so much.
yeah, so give the people some background on you and what you're currently doing.
Let me see if I can move my computer. Sorry for anyone watching. I'm moving my... Are you there?
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I'm walking through my house. I'm walking from my office down to my dining room because it looks like my internet connection was bad. But hi, everyone. Rob, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here with you today. And, yeah, it's awesome. I'm psyched to be here. So what's up?
Yeah, cool. So just for everybody's information, I'm kind of piecemealing this software together with the eCam, with Zoom, because the BeLive didn't work. So I might be switching back and forth. Let me just move this a little bit. There's Rob Sales. Now he's a cool guy from the UK, so he's over here checking us out.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a few other, but in terms of the live, that's if you guys see this, there's actually quite a few people here. So appreciate everybody. I guess let's do this. What up, Charlie? Cool. Okay, I don't want to go back and forth and ruin the way it looks, but let's just dive right in. Bingo, right there. Cool. So Lisa's awesome. Lisa is amazing, and I'm excited to share her with all of you guys. So yeah. Tell us what you do and what you're amazing at.
Well, I guess if I was amazing at something, I would say I'm amazing at breakthroughs and transformation. I help people sort of figure out what's holding them back from what they want in life. I do a lot of career coaching, but I also work with people who are hung up in either a state of grief, pain, or anger. And usually that manifests in their life, in other parts of their life, like career. So inevitably, we always get to career. Even with my most senior clients, it always gets back to, are you really living a purposeful and meaningful life? Or are you living a life in grief, lack, and limitation? So we work a lot with the tools that I've developed over the years to, number one, find out what's really holding them back or holding them down. And number two, we define distinct tools that work specifically for them so that they can let go. I know you and I we generated a new tool just to get rid of some stuff that you were carrying around with you. Yeah. And I believe that was pretty freeing for you. So, yeah. I mean, I help people break through, and that's the best part of my job. I absolutely love to see people go through a transformation and find this sense of liberation and freedom where they can really connect with their inner power and do what they actually want to in life. Be happy and live in their authenticity and their genuine nature. So that's the short long of what I do.
Yeah, and I know that you have a very unique sense of pulling stuff out, basically going beyond what's being said, and then hearing and listening in a really deep manner, so you can identify what to pinpoint fairly quickly. It happens really quick with you. So how did all that? Were you born with this gift? Or did it, develop or?
Oh gosh, that's a really great question. I was born an empath, meaning I have just a very keen ability to be empathetic to people. And I think maybe a lot of my personal experiences has grown that ability. And in empathy, I have grown my insight or my intuition. I call it my spidey sense.
Yeah.
I'm a tough coach because I can sort of see through people. You know, when I hear the story, but I hear the words, but because of the empathy, I hear the real story, what's going on inside. And because I can sort of go so deep and read into what the person is saying or feeling, I'm able to then sort of needle a little bit. And, you know, I'm tough. But it's my work. I really feel like my work is not to cradle and not to coddle people. And if I hear something going on with you that is very important for you to heal and to stop masking, I'm going to be tough on you. You know, I mean, I don't feel, I'm not a coach for every single person. I'm a coach for people that really want to break through and go through sort of the toughness of it, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
In fact, I did a Facebook post on my professional page yesterday, and the picture said, healing sucks. And healing does suck. It's really hard to heal, and it's painful. And you think, you know what, I want to heal so I don't have the pain.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we have to go through this process of pain so that we can break through to the way we really, really want to live. And I see people living in pain that's holding them back from so many aspects of their lives, from finding love, from finding the career they want, from financial abundance, from health and well-being, both physical and mental. So my ability to sort of look deep inside someone is, I guess, my gift. But also maybe a little bit my curse, because I fall in love with every one of my clients. It's hard for me to carry their pain with me, but in part, I feel like maybe that was my life path. It was my journey. That's why I've been given the gift of insight and intuition. I'm not a psychic. I don't do readings. You know, I genuinely talk to you and get to know you and want to, you know, I want to share your pain. And when I go to bed at night, you know, I do sort of take that with me. So I do a lot of personal work to just help me let go a little bit and remain as healthy as I can to be able to be in service to each of my clients.
So let's say they're entrepreneurs, like CEOs, and a lot of them just, you know, have this stoic thing about their, you know, because they have to be, right? How do you break through that to get, you know, to have them accept that, you know what, there is something that's blocking you, right? So,
well, I've never had a client that didn't sort of accept that there was something going on, because why would they come to me, you know? So, anytime I've worked with particularly men, it doesn't even matter whether they're in senior positions or not, but particularly men, they come from a place of frustration and anger. And we sort of have to go through the process of admitting that they're not taking care of themselves. And because especially the more senior you get in your career, you have this level of confidence that says, you know, we're Tarzan, you know, I can do anything, you know, so whatever is blocking you is manifesting in anger, typically. Frustration, but mostly anger, that you're just pissed off. Guys just get pissed off. And when they get pissed off, generally speaking, what's happening is they're carrying something inside of them that is causing them to be weighted somewhere where they don't want to be, right? So it's baggage is what it is. 100% of the time, it's baggage. It's that you're carrying something around. And to remove that, you have to ask yourself, am I caring for myself enough? Are you coming from a place of self-worth, self-love, and self-appreciation where it really becomes meaningful to you that you want to remove what is holding you down or take or drop off this baggage? And I think it's hard for guys in particular to accept, especially when you talk about self-love. They're sort of like, oh my God, you know, I'll pass on your unicorn. Well, I don't have unicorns. I really don't. In fact, my female clients, I'm like, leave your unicorn at home, leave your crystals at home, you know, just we need to work on this just one-on-one. But it always boils down to self-worth, self-appreciation, and self-love. How much do you care about you so that you can get through your breakthrough and transform into what you were trying to live?
How do you get them to realize that after, because you got to go through layers, right?
You go through a lot of layers, and I teach this power formula, and when they start to realize what goes into the power formula, they realize where they are heavy. It's sort of, like a formula is an equation, right? So it's supposed to equate or be balanced, and a power formula can be really off balance. So personal power is knowledge power plus relationship power plus inner power. And where most men excel is in knowledge power and relationship power. Sometimes maybe a little off balance in relationship power, but they really neglect inner power. And inner power is about the harmony inside of you that you're really caring for, your energetic vibration, what you're emitting into the world. I know you and I have talked a lot about this. The law of vibration and how your internal world manifests externally. So once they start to understand the law of vibration and how that really is the supporting mechanism for the law of attraction, they start to really understand, like, oh, okay, you know what? Maybe I do need to get back to me and start a practice that is going to care for me. 9 out of 10 of my male clients have no inner power practice whatsoever. None whatsoever. And inner power practices can be a number of things. It can be meditation, it can be visualization, it can be proper prayer, stillness, deep breathing. There's a ton of them. And each person is different, and how they're going to develop their own practice is going to be different. But that's where I come in. I guide them, and I, talk to them about sort of how to do all of those practices. We work one-on-one on, what it means to that person. And then when they implement that, things become so much more balanced, because then you can take your knowledge, your relationships, and your inner power, and things sort of become harmonious. And that you also, when you're working with your inner power, it's significantly easier to drop off that baggage, to let go. That's usually where the breakthroughs come for men. The breakthroughs for women usually come through knowledge power, because they hold so much knowledge, but they forget to apply it. And that is so interesting. It seems so basic, but here's a really easy, great example that I give people. We know that if we want to lose weight, we need to create a calorie deficit or eat less. But at the same time, we don't do that. So you might hold the knowledge, but if you're not applying it, it's worthless. So this notion of sort of knowing how to do things is meaningless unless you're actively applying your knowledge, which, of course, when you actively apply your knowledge, you can then use trial and error to see whether or not you're headed in the right direction. And once you learn how to head in the right direction, that's how we grow in wisdom. So that's how we become that much more sort of agile and flexible in life, and things start to bother us less, and we're able to sort of move and flow easier to where we're trying to go.
Yeah, to have the ability to let go and be okay with it is freeing.
Yeah, it's hard. Freeing. And I think, to be honest with you, in that power formula, I think both men and women, and this is just human nature, everybody struggles with relationships because we hold on to relationships that don't serve us way too often. And a lot of it is because we feel like that we're obligated. It might be a family member or an ex or, a childhood friend that we feel like we're obligated to them in some way. Right. But if a relationship isn't serving you, there's no reason you need to partake in it. And when we're trying to break through to something new, particularly in our career, we need to establish new relationships that allow us to not only get value from, so we need to be discretionary about those relationships that we're making, but also to provide value in so that they're sustainable over time. So I think relationships in general can really either help or hurt us. They're very rarely neutral positions. I had very hard lessons on the relationship front long ago, thank God. But I take personal inventory of all of my relationships on a bi-yearly basis. No joke. I know it sort of sounds like, it's a little like psycho, but I really do. I look at everyone in my life and I say, is this person serving me? And am I able to serve this person? Nice. Because ultimately, we all want to feel valued. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes a relationship meaningful and ultimately sort of, helps us through our life. So I take personal inventory twice a year, and whatever relationships are waning, I just let them go now. My relationships are really beautiful. I don't have anyone in my life that just is sort of like there anymore. I have relationships
Yeah.
that are really, really meaningful, and they're really helpful to me. So that's one that I think everyone struggles with, that should really be looked at, I think, by everyone.
Yeah, I think that's a really good practice, and I've seen some people do this. They clean up their Facebook, right? They put a post, "Hey, I'm gonna delete you. Just because if we're not friends or I don't know you, I'm gonna take you off." So digitally, I think that makes sense, but then just personally, I think that it's helpful.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. I'm really big on reducing drama as much as possible in your life. In fact, I usually encourage my clients when they're working with me to get off of social media unless they use it for business. The big announcement that I'm deleting all my friends, if I don't know you or I don't talk to you, you're gone.
Yeah.
So, you got to remember that it's just sort of causing drama. And I think the better thing is just to get off social media because it's a breeding ground for your ego.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I work a lot with clients on, is learning the difference between your higher self and your ego, and understanding when you are living in ego or allowing or driving your actions from ego versus being from your higher self.
Right.
And that has a lot to do with the inner power that you grow into over time. But I think, a common misconception about transformations and breakthroughs is that they're easy, and they're not. In fact, if they're easy, they're false, right? Or they're not sustainable. So you need tools, you need directions, and you do need a mentor or coach. I'm not, like I said, I'm not for everybody, but you really do. I have a coach. You've been my coach in certain elements and situations. But I always have someone that I'm, looking up to for guidance and, seeking wisdom from. And I think that's important for everybody.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, I don't think we're supposed to go it alone. I think we're supposed to be continually inspired and learning all the time. So, I think that's important.
Yeah. So what in the world motivates you to do all this stuff?
Well, I love helping people. We had a conversation before this, and I have, I'm blessed. I've been in business for a very long time, and I have a number of different opportunities to stick strictly to business, big industry and business. And, my soul would die if I weren't helping people. I have to help people.
Yeah.
As you know, I do have a story for anybody watching. I got to the lowest point a person can get to and wanted to give up on my life about 10 years ago. And it was very scary. I had two very young children, 3.5 and basically 10 months. I had just lost my husband, and a number of other very scary things had happened directly preceding his death, and I had lost my brother 10 years before. So it just was a terrible, terrible time, and I felt helpless and hopeless, and I went the traditional route. I sought therapy. I was diagnosed with clinical depression, anxiety, and panic disorder, and I was given a pharmacy of medication that I decided was not for me. And much to my mother and father's dismay, I threw out all of my medication and I fired my therapist, and I committed to a healing journey that took me a number of years. I basically let go of all of my friends and found a place of solitude. I was working, but other than that and being a mother, I didn't socialize. And I just committed to healing. So I, over the years, immersed myself in intense study, and I came out living I would say I'm living the life of my dreams, so that's very exciting for me to say. But that's it, having all of the knowledge that I have and all of the wisdom that I have. I just don't think I'm meant to, sort of shell up and go hide it. I think I'm meant to show the world. In fact, I'm going to start a YouTube channel hopefully this week, and just do little short videos on, I'm going to talk about, the first one is going to be that personal power formula. It's like, if you can get that in itself can transform your whole life. I mean, it takes a while to sort of work in each of the inputs, but that can transform your whole life. So so that's sort of what makes me tick, helping people.
What's the one thing you would tell somebody that's neutral right? Like just kind of they're successful, they're just doing it, but there's still a lot of work, but they don't get to it. But they're just kind of trucking along. But it's clear, you know, they they need to do something in order to take it to the next level. What's the one thing you would tell that person that's neutral?
I would say think about what your legacy is going to be. I mean, that's sort of, that's something that very few people think about, because they think, well, I have to live my life. I have to do this. I have to get to work. I have to make my money. I have to buy the house. I have to have the children.
Yeah.
And in doing all of that, you forget that you will leave one day. And these people that you're caring for, whether they be children or family members or friends or even your bosses, what's the legacy that you're going to leave? I had a program called Design School, which was a very intense 5-week program that helped people design their lives or redesign their lives for the most part. And one of the things we worked on was designing your legacy. What are people going to say about you at your funeral? What do you want people to say about you? What mark do you want to leave? How do you want to be remembered? So I think that's big, because I think as human beings, we really want to feel meaningful. We want people to recognize us for something about us. So finding that authenticity and that genuine nature is super, super important, and then deciding how you're going to make your mark on the world.
How would you encourage somebody to do proper self-reflection? Right? Because some self-reflection can be like, oh, woe is me, or yeah, I did it, I did it. But how would you encourage somebody to do proper self-reflection?
Well, self-reflection can be sort of dangerous for some people right off the bat.
Right.
Because I work a lot with people moving forward, not moving backward. And
yeah, this is good. I like this. I remember this. This is good. Yeah.
Therapist. Now remember, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm a coach. But therapists do a lot of sort of self-reflection. Now, I personally had many breakthroughs in self-reflection, and they were emotions. I had to dismantle emotions that were going to kill me if they weren't dismantled. But luckily, I got through it. It was hard. Self-reflection takes place when you're ready. That's the first thing. You can't force it. You really cannot force self-reflection. You can't sort of go and write down on a piece of paper, when I was 10, this happened to me. When I was 6, this happened to me. When I was 16, this happened to me. And then all of a sudden have this grand insight on it. So to start self-reflection, it's really about inner practice. And that could be any of the things that I named plus 1,000 others. So that would be a stillness practice, mindfulness, proper prayer, meditation, to start there and just sort of get centered in your energy and in your vibration, and decide at that point, am I happy in this moment? Am I happy? Can I now transition to the next place I want to be? Most people can't, because most people are in a state of agita, and they're sort of like being eaten at. They're like, I'm not comfortable. It's not enough. I don't have enough money. I'm not in the right career position. Nothing's fulfilling. I don't feel passion. I've lost love from my spouse, and or I hate my spouse, or I hate my ex, or my friends are driving me crazy. I'm not fulfilled. So it's not even so much. I mean, self-reflection is tricky. It has a lot to do with self-actualization, which is a whole nother. That would be a whole nother video. But I think really, if you do want to benefit ultimately from self-reflection, you start in some kind of inner practice like mindfulness or meditation, prayer, and see where it guides you. If you're not ready, it doesn't. You're not ready. Yeah. It won't benefit you. You really have to be ready. And I know that through what I did was I really genuinely learned to meditate. And I think some people overcomplicate meditation. It's not complicated. It just takes practice. It's like anything else. If you want to learn how to sew a garment, you're not going to sit down and come out with a beautiful ball gown the first go around. Right. You're going to come out with some awkward shirt that's sort of not fitting you right? Because you don't know how to do it. But as you learn and you practice, just like technology, you and I'm always like, how do you do this? How do you do this? Well, you've been practicing for years, right? I mean, that's how you got it done. Yeah. Meditation's the same thing. All meditation is focus. That's it. That's all. It's awareness on one particular thing or nothing at all. So it's basically emptying the mind and training yourself to be aware of what you want to be aware of. And that's that's how you get to a breakthrough. It's shifting your awareness. It's completely shifting your awareness from the things that are sort of eating you alive and causing you the agita and weighting you down into a reality that you're not satisfied with, to the awareness of success and liberation and freedom and abundance.
Right.
So, I would start with inner practice, inner power practice before I would jump right to self-reflection.
Yeah, because that way you'll move based on how centered you are, right? And you're not moving based on ambition or ego or depression, but it's just once you get centered, you do the practice, and then you let your inner being just kind of guide you.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Sort of like, if you say to yourself, let's say you have a major crisis at work, right? And you say, what did I do wrong? Well, you do have to reflect a little bit on maybe what you did wrong, but more so the question is, what can I do right now? Because we are in this present moment. There is power of this moment now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to tread lightly on how you're reviewing your past. It's one of the things that I don't think I've ever had a client that hasn't been almost wholly hung up on the past and not living right now, So, I would start with learning how to be mindful in the present moment and then adding some kind of inner power practice.
Yeah.
Prayer or meditation.
That's good. And that's a pretty difficult starting point because there's a lot of us that are go, task driven, right?
I mean, it is insane. First of all, it saved my life. Getting inside of me literally saved my life. I can't stress it enough how important inner practice is. I'm working with a woman in her 70s right now, and she is extremely angry and extremely frustrated, and everything in her internal world is manifesting in her external world in such a way that she's driving away critical relationships that ultimately she needs, people that genuinely love her but literally can't be around her anymore. And I when we talk about her mornings, I tell her the first thing you need to do before you even get out of bed is take 10 deep breaths and realize that you are alive and that this life is in your control and that you have the power to change it. And then start a gratitude practice. Instead of running to your computer to check senseless emails, you should be sitting in stillness for 10 minutes, So just taking care of the inner part of you that you can't see is so powerful. People dismiss it. I mean, we're always banging on the doors of creation, trying to do, get this done, get that done, get this done. And if we said, you know what really needs to get done? The inside of me, the part I can't see. That's where I really need to start today so that externally, everything else takes care of itself.
Right.
I mean, that's how I have had all of my successes in the past, I would say 6 years. I have taken such good care of my internal world that now my external world is, it's rock solid. I love my life. I absolutely love my life. And if 10 years ago you asked me if I love my life, I would tell you, honestly, I wanted to die. So that internal world, really important.
Yeah, that's huge. This is a lot of beefy material. Beefy material. So I appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. So where can people get a little bit more of this meat? Of this,
You can certainly email me at lisa@lisaroulette.com. Roulette is spelled just like the gambling game. My website is Lisa Roulette. My Facebook page is Lisa Roulette. It's pretty easy to get in touch with me. I'm happy to help. I love helping people. My website is predominantly geared toward my my business coaching practice, but as you can see, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at the personal coaching as well.
Oh yeah, massively great. Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I know this is going to be helpful for a lot of people. I've taken some mental notes too. I think a couple of things that I'm going to take from today is the doing what's right versus doing and I talked to the kids about this last night is, dude, just because you want that popsicle doesn't make it right for you to go and snatch it from the girls,
Right.
So just because I want to go and do, the take care of the tasks, it might not be the right thing for my inner self. And that's the second thing I'm going to take is I need to slow myself down in the mornings and center myself. I'll admit I haven't been centered a lot this month because I've been excited with some stuff. So this is good to anchor me back, to get into my meditation and all that stuff. So I appreciate it.
If you can start from a place of grounding, if you can start every day from a place of grounding, and I'm hugely guilty of sort of being ungrounded in the recent past. I have a family of now 6, including myself, and I have really allowed all of the just movement and activity in my home to knock me out of my grounding. And I actually was talking to my husband this weekend. I said, I have a lot of work to get back to that, that place of center and that place of harmony. I don't really believe in balance. I don't think balance is really possible. I believe in harmony, because some things are always going to weight heavier in your life. But if you can sort of get into a harmonious flow, that's really important. And I think we're all guilty of grounding. As my business is growing, I'm so grateful. And I'm like you. I want to get out of bed. I want to get to the next plan. I want to develop my next program. I want to do my next speaking event. Like I want to do all that. But I think, just one practice in the morning, it can take. I have a client, I love her practice. What she does is before she gets out of bed, she takes her fingers just like this. And on each finger, she holds each finger and says something that she's grateful for. So she does 10 acts of gratitude, and it's brilliant. And it's just really, really grounding and really strong to just say, okay, I'm present of me, my inner world, and now I can go live in my external world.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I think I'm going to do that with the kids. Okay, what are you grateful for today?
I would just let them use one hand. It gets a little out of control.
Right.
The gratitude at our dinner table is I actually have to stop it. I'm like, okay, it's enough. I want to eat.
Cool. Right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And I'm sure everybody's grateful for the insight you shared right now. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Cool. Me too, Rob. Thanks so much.
Okay. See ya. Now let's see how we can do this.